another episode of On the Wall presented by and I'm King Junior 88, and as you can see, we are live at Martinsville Speedway here in Martinsville, Virginia for the STP 500. So Nick, take it away with the race recap.
Yes, thank you. Joey Logano was on the pole for the STP 500, but quickly fell back. Brad Keselowski then took over, and on lap 65, Michael McDowell melted a bead and pounded the wall in turn 4, and that was the first caution of the day. Keselowski dominated and then won stage 1, but not without a late charge from Chase Elliott. Stage 2 got underway, and on lap 147, there was a caution for debris. It ended up being Ross Chastain's axle. It came loose and left a lot of grease in turn 3. Several cars slipped in it, but it could have been a lot worse. Brad ended up leading every single lap of that stage and grabbed another 10 points. Chase was right there for most of it, but ended up fading right at the end of the run. With 188 to go, William Byron got spun by Ty Dillon. With 175 to go, someone finally passed Brad for the lead, and it was none other than Chase Elliott. Contact also started to ramp up throughout the pack. Eric Jones was the biggest victim of that as he got a flat tire. With 128 laps to go, Michael McDowell's teammate Matt Tifft also melted a bead to bring out a caution. Brad Keselowski beat Chase Elliott off pit road and reclaimed the lead, and with 55 to go, Ross Chastain's troubles continued as he had an issue in turn 1 and brought out the final yellow of the race. In the end, Chase Elliott gave it absolutely everything he had, but Brad Keselowski was able to hold him off and grab the victory. It was just a flawless and dominating performance. He led 446 out of the 500 laps. That was the most laps led in a cup race since Kyle Petty led 484 laps at Rockingham in 1992. That is just insane. So to finish off the top 10, Chase Elliott obviously got second. Then Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin were the top 5. Then Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Almirola, and Daniel Suarez was the rest of the top 10. The time of the race was just under 3 hours and 22 minutes. There were 7 cautions for 56 laps, and there were only 3 lead changes, which was the fewest at Martinsville since the 1967 Old Dominion 500. So, geez, we had a kind of an interesting race, and both you guys were there, so I guess let's jump into the race ratings with Kane. Take it away.
Thank you, Nick. And like you said, it's very un-Martinsville-like race, especially when the same guy leads all but 50-something laps. It's crazy. I guess that's just how things are this season, and Brad just could not be beat. But it definitely wasn't a runaway performance. I mean, Chase did give it all he had, and it was definitely bearable to watch. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Tyler, what do you say?
Well, Kane, I'm going to go 1 point higher. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The same rating I gave the spring race from last year. And obviously this one was way more dominated, but still it just seemed like there was plenty going on through the pack. And the factor of watching Chase Elliott and being a fan of his, it was badass. You and I, we high-fived when he took the lead, and that was cool. And it was always tense. That finish was shaping up to be so much better than it actually was. The cards were there. They just couldn't fall into place. I think it's just this package didn't work out again, and just the leader had too much of an advantage, and everybody else suffered because of it. It's unfortunate, but I still feel like we saw a solid event, and obviously being at the track always enhances it. So we got, I feel like, the best experience out of anybody else. Unfortunately, the people on TV, plenty of them didn't see it the same way. But Nick, why don't you give us your perspective and what's your race rating?
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw it on TV, and it was basically how you described it. I mean, it was kind of annoying how Brad Keselowski led that many laps, but he never totally checked out. It was still fun to watch Chase hang in there and then finally grab the lead at one point, and I could tell the fans were going crazy. There was a good amount of bumping and banging throughout the pack, and even though there weren't many spins or crashes, it still felt like classic Martinsville. However, I can tell, like you said, the aero package is having some effect on these short tracks as well. But in the end, it just wasn't meant to be for old Chase Elliott. Maybe they shouldn't have hesitated on making those adjustments in the pits. Maybe he should have changed his line sooner. Maybe he just needed clean air. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. You can't do anything about it now. I was just really pulling for him, especially for your guys' sake. But from an unbiased perspective, overall, it was just a really solid race. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And throwing it right back to these guys, like I said, they were both at the Cup race. They met for the first time, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their experience. So, Kane, once again, you can start it off.
Thank you, Nick. So this really all started off back at Christmas, my brother promised to get me tickets to a selection of races that were all within 12 hours of our house. I was pretty much torn between this and Talladega because I actually wanted to go to whichever race Tyler was going to go to so we could meet. So he said, I'm definitely going to Martinsville. And obviously with Talladega being kind of a shit show the past 2 years, I decided, yeah, I think I'll do the same. So bright and early Saturday morning, we left. It took us 13 hours to get from here in Chicago to our hotel, which was in Greensboro, about an hour south of the track. We got up pretty early Sunday morning. I wanted to get there early so I could attend the tweet up that was going on outside the track with Bob Pockris, Kelly Crandall, and also Mr. Mellon himself, Ross Chastain, who Nick and I met last year at Chicagoland, and obviously a really chill dude. And it was definitely fun because they were also handing out free shit like hats, and they also handed out free hot dogs to everybody. And that ended up being my very first Martinsville hot dog, my first of 3 actually that I had. For Tyler's sake, I will say this: they were amazing. Thank you for turning me on to them. I really
You're damn right.
appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so after the tweet up, I'm going, over by the souvenir rigs and everything. I'm standing in line at Chase Elliott's rig, hoping to get a T-shirt, and then all of a sudden I hear this voice come up behind me. He's like, "Yo, I really hate that Kane Jr. 88," and he's like, "Hey, Howard, how you doing?" So we shake hands, and then I introduce him to my brother, and then Tyler introduced me to his girlfriend Jade, as well as his buddy who's also named Tyler and his girlfriend. And then we went over to the clearance tent that he had been telling me about, and there's a way bigger diecast selection over there. I ended up getting Junior's last ride in standard finish. I wish it were the raced version, but hey, better than nothing. I got it for half price, so hell of a deal there.
We got separated, by the way, because we were just searching through other tents. We were fucking looking for matching shirts. That was a whole goddamn thing. Jesus Christ. We found them. Good Lord.
So I go back. We put all my newly bought stuff in my car. We go back to the get in line because driver intros had already been underway, and we were trying to get back in time for like the national anthem and everything. So we go up to our seats. We're pretty good, actually. We were in the Richard Petty Tower along the front straightaway. And anyways, I was wondering when Tyler and his posse were going to show up because they had not bought their tickets yet because they were trying to get a last-minute deal, which thankfully they ended up doing. They got the section over from me and my brother. So my brother and I all moved towards their section. So we all sat together, and even though Brad dominated the race, we had a damn good time. And I got to say, it was definitely one of the best experiences I've personally have ever had at a race. I mean, just because the action was awesome, and I don't think I've ever watched a race with a whole group of people before, besides maybe my family at Daytona a couple years ago. But this was different just because it was a bunch of new friends that I finally met for the first time. And that's really what going to a NASCAR race is all about. I mean, you're not sitting with thousands of strangers. You're just sitting with thousands of friends that you've never met before. So everybody at the track is very friendly. All the fans are very welcoming and accommodating. And I'm definitely very thankful for that. So, and thankful to Tyler and his posse for kind of welcoming me into their group with open arms. So I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just great to have you there, and you and your brother are super cool. Nice to meet your brother too, obviously. And great shades, by the way. I have to bring that up. Here's a great comparison to the wonderful, horrifically scrubby Benny Miller side-by-side comparison right here. So that was cool. At least your brother, it works on his face, not Benny's. But it was just a cool day. We made it happen. But I mean, shit, that's just one half of your story. My story, I've been to Martinsville many times. I know the flow. But it didn't quite go as smoothly as I wanted to, man. I had to pull some NASCAR 15 fuel-saving tricks out of my ass because when you're in North Carolina, the gas is more expensive than it is in Virginia. I was coasting for the last 15 minutes until we got to Virginia state line. And I'm telling you, that sucker wasn't making it a couple more miles. And luckily, I finally found the right damn one. Like, as soon as we crossed into Virginia, I'm just waiting. Where the fuck is a gas station? We want to have like 900 McDonald's all over the place and a million gas stations. And it took me like 5 damn miles to find a gas station. Unacceptable. But we made it there, dropped the ball on tickets, waited to the last minute, and missed the first 30 laps of the race just because of the poor cell phone connection and having to buy them online instead of in person. And that's a whole damn thing. But either way, it ended up working out for the best. We ended up being able to sit together. I know I had to walk down and get Kane after the first damn caution of the race, but we still got to experience what we set our minds and our hearts on. It's a win at the end of the day. We'll chalk it up. It's a memory. Hopefully this becomes a yearly thing. Obviously, there was somebody in this group that didn't go.
Hey, you know who sucks? Oh, Nick Lamacki? Yeah, that guy sucks ass. Fuck you, Nick.
I don't know. I mean, he's kind of a weirdo, but hopefully we can see him next time. Maybe he'll figure out how to get his ass down to Martinsville and have a couple of hot dogs and sit and chill with us watching a race at a paperclip.
I'm going to try, damn it.
You're damn right. If I got to go up to Illinois and drag your ass in the car, I'll do it. Well, that's the Martinsville experience and the first installment of Tyler and Alex's excellent adventure.
Hell yeah.
Man, I mean, I tell you, even though I couldn't go, I'm really happy for you guys that they finally happened for at least 2 of you. Hopefully we have more good memories to come.
And as always, it's time for those awards for the Martinsville race weekend, and kicking it off with the steaming, raging, stiffing boner of the week. It goes to NASCAR's social media page for this tweet.
Cock.
Proofread much? Jesus Christ. Boyer? Is he a homosexual? Is that what you're saying? Does he want a large ballpark Frank in his mouth? Is that what you're saying, NASCAR? Jesus, how do you let that go out? But we thank you so very much for allowing that to happen, because great screenshots. We're going to have it forever. It's immortalized in this podcast, too. And according to you, Boyer wants the cock again. He didn't get the cock, but I don't know. Then again, we're not really involved with Clint's personal life. He could have a whole different homosexual side to him. Maybe him and Booger are doing something in the holler. I don't know. NASCAR, your social media guys, dropped the ball and delivered us the boner. Figuratively. Literally. Maybe. I don't know. This is just making me uncomfortable at this point. Next award.
Yeah, our next award is another classic that's coming back. It is Park the Shitbox, and it goes to Daniel Saznet. Who are you? Oh my God. Well, he spun twice on his own for his initiation to NASCAR. He finished 30th, 12 laps down. But I mean, he really didn't have a scratch on it, so I guess he had that going for him. He was originally a second entry for the Josh Rayome team, but Josh withdrew and he swapped to the 33, and it was just this whole big underfunded production, and it didn't really work out. So nothing else you can really say about that. If he's coming back, I hope he has a better run. So next award.
All right, the next award is the Day from Hell, and it goes to Eric Jones, who had a really strong run going during the first two stages of the race, but then midway through the final stage, he made contact with Kyle Larson that shredded up the left front and left rear fenders of the car, and also left a pretty large donut on the right side of the machine. Ends up cutting a tire down, and then after that all happened, the rear panel then ended up coming loose off the car and almost got black flagged for it. But then he came to pit road, the crew removed it, finishing 30th, 9 laps down. My God. It was a promising start, but it ended up being an absolute day from hell for that Jones boy.
Second in a row for him at Martinsville, by the way.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, he just does not like that place, I guess. Moving on to the next award.
Yeah, it's an offshoot of a couple awards. We combined it into one. It's the
Straight Jacket
from Hell! And it goes to NASCAR, first of all, for the straight jacket side of things. Apparently, when Ross Chastain's axle flew out of the car in stage 2, the track was slippery for a while, and NASCAR didn't seem to care, even though there was a giant streak of grease going down the track in turn 3, which caused several drivers to go slipping and sliding like they were on a goddamn skating rink out there.
feels like it's on a goddamn skating ring. Fly off to the right
And almost explode.
Fortunately, I mean, everyone got away unscathed, except for Ross. But then, to make things worse for Chastain, he had another problem in turn 1 late in the race for the final caution. And it's just really heartbreaking because he's really had one of the best seasons out of anyone, especially in the lower series. He had another solid run in trucks, which we'll talk about soon. but it just wasn't meant to be in the Cup race. I know it's an underfunded team, but he was still making the most of every opportunity. This was not his fault, and he'll go get him next time. So moving on to the cigars, we have a few of them. Take it away.
The first and only cigar from the truck race goes to Ross Chastain. Yeah, just after you get done talking about the shit afternoon he had in the Cup race, he had a great day in the Truck Series race. He won stage number 2, contended for the lead for that for plenty of it. Had to settle for 4th, unfortunately, but hey, another cigar going in the shop, on Ross's big old cigar shop. Man, they're expanding business. They're looking to move out of the building that they're in. Things are just going terrific for Ross. Really thought he had a shot to win there, too. So maybe we'll see that Nice truck in victory lane before long. Who knows? Now we get on the Cup, and the most obvious cigar, it's Brad Keselowski and the 2 team really as a whole. I mean, to bring a car to the track, that badass, that good, for Christ's sake, you already know the stats. We've been through it. And that is the ass kicking we talk about. So they delivered it. Good job, Brad. Smoke the cigar. We still have a few more. Kane, you like to tell us about them?
All right, we have 3 more cigars to give out for the Cup race. The first of those goes to Chase Elliott, who almost had the win. He managed to grab the lead from Brad Keselowski in stage 3. He led 49 laps, but then under a late caution, he ended up losing the lead back to Brad on pit road and just could not get by him. Had to settle for second. A heartbreaking second for sure, but hopefully a sign of things to come. The next cigar goes to Clint Boyer, who looked like he was going to have a day from hell after 2 speeding penalties on back-to-back cautions.
Got us for speed in section 10. God! I got us again, same section. Did I just get a penalty again? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. God! We yourselves this time.
But somehow, some way, he was able to rebound and bring it home in 7th. So good for you, Clint. And our final cigar goes to Ty Dillon, who had a very under-the-radar kind of day. He finished in 13th. He didn't have quite a clean car. He did make some contact with somebody late in the race, but really that was the only blemish on his day. A top 15 run for Germain Racing is actually pretty quite impressive. So, Ty, you get a cigar. Congratulations, and that will do it for the awards.
Well, by some miracle, we don't have any worse paint schemes of the week, but we do have 4 great ones, so enjoy the montage.
Well, you know what time it is now. You know the flow. It's fantasy results from Martinsville. So, I come home with the win, picking Brad Keselowski. Clean slate. Get that 60 points. Finally, something goes right in my fantasy season. So, I'll take that dub. Damani finishes 2nd, picking Truex, who finished 8th. Only got 38 points. Kane, 2 points behind him by picking Kyle Busch, who got 3rd. And Nick rounded out the rear with a solid selection of Joey Logano, but a ugly and wonderful day for our viewing eyes. He finished 19th, only 23 points. So nice going there. Complete opposite ends of the spectrum for the Penske guys. And that means you go first for Texas, Nick. Who are you going to take for that shit fest?
It's kind of obvious who I'm going to take. It's Kevin Harvick. Yeah, he's won of the reconfigured version of the track before. He's good at those repaves with the single groove where aero's a big deal, and I don't really want him to, but I mean, he's due. I mean, I guess it's acceptable with who else has won this year, so he can get it done. It'll happen sooner or later, so hopefully it's this week. I need some points. Alex, who's your pick?
Well, we all saw what he did yesterday, and I think that momentum is going to carry over to next week at Texas. I'm going to take Brad Keselowski. He has actually never won at Texas Motor Speedway before, but with the season that he has had so far, especially after his win at Atlanta, I'd say he is due for a win in the Lone Star State. So, Damani, who is your pick?
You fucking prick!
Thank you, Damani. Tyler?
Well, Martin Truex Jr.
God bless it.
He's just a real solid selection. It didn't work out for me at Auto Club, but it's just, again, beating it like a dead horse. Keep saying this over and over and over again. He's going to break through. They've just been decent enough. I feel like at some point, they're just going to kick it into high gear and take over the top dog at JGR for at least 1 week. And Truex has always been really stout at Texas, too. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him fire off the 6 shooters and wear his little hat and have a good old time with the fire and shit flying around behind him. Go ahead, do a thing, Martin, please. That does it for fantasy. That's my fantasy.
Well, that'll do it for another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. It was a pretty meaningful episode for a couple guys. They were at the race. For Tyler and Kane, I'm really jealous of those guys, but we'll stop talking about that and just move on. For Damani HD, yeah, I'm moving him up in the lineup for some reason, but I bet he didn't even watch the race. And for myself, Thermite 917. I don't have high hopes for this aero package anymore, but let's just try to make the most of Texas. So, once again, this has been Behind the Wall. You've been Behind the Wall, and thank you for listening.
You're damn right. If I got to go up to Illinois and drag your ass in the car to do it, I'll do it.
Well, while you're up here, let's go to Chicago, and it's very nice.
Yeah.
If you're banking on a finish like that every year, no. No. Have fun at that 1.5 mile snoozer this year, bitch. Okay. We're done talking about this now.
Okay. Now what? Are we still doing the podcast?
Oh, I think we're still doing the podcast, yeah. Oh, Johnny, I know you're the most talented solder of a very least talented racing family. Did the wife cut you off again? They're finished. Ding, 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 your Hot Pocket's done.
Yeah.
I had one today.
Oh, really?
Thanks for letting us know, Nick.
Yeah, I had to.
It's like at the top of the list of things that I don't give a shit about.
Yeah, well, I don't care.
I think that momentum will carry over to next week at Texas, where he has won. Has he won before? I actually don't. He has, yep.
Didn't he, right?
Well, I mean, if he's won at every track.
Has he?
Yeah. He's won there.
I'm looking it up though. We don't want to be wrong, and Kane's usually always right about things. Nick, you were the one that said he's won everywhere.
I thought he did.
You're thinking of Kyle.
I was thinking of Kyle. I don't know why I was thinking of Kyle. Who did you pick?
Negative. Keselowski.
Oh yeah, he didn't win at Texas.
Yeah.
Dumbass, Nick.
I was looking at the results and I saw Alex next to Kyle Busch. I'm like, oh, you're picking Kyle Busch. You must do what you did. Never mind.
He, if last week was, or this week was any indication, I'd say he's.
Do that again.
Okay.
Just. I don't even know.
Start from the top. Not behind the wall, but like from the fantasy.
Okay, so.
Redo the intro.
Okay.
Well, that does it for another week of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. We hope you enjoyed it. I know Tyler and Kane enjoyed the race, being out there in Virginia together. But, man, I couldn't do it, but hopefully sometime soon. But for Damani HD, why are we even talking about him? He didn't even probably watch Martinsville. Who knows? For Kane and Tyler, I'm just jealous of them. I got to stop talking about it. And for myself, Thermite 917. I'm just, hopefully this aero package doesn't suck next week, but it probably will. So you've been Behind the Wall, and thanks for listening.
Great outro, man.
I was like, I had a buzz going on that or something.
Were you buzzed?
Nick was wobbling. Oh, he had a Smirnoff.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick with that outro, Nick? Or
Is that your final outro? I really don't like it.
Exactly. I didn't like it either.
I'm not saying the next one will be better.
Well, I don't know. At least now you've got that out of the way, so it's kind of like you were standing in front of an audience and like this is the first time you're singing the Star Spangled Banner and you're like, oh my God, I've had a lot to drink before this. I forgot to piss. I'm pissing right. Just sing the song. That's kind of what you were doing the whole time during that outro.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
All right, I'll give it another shot.
Nick Trickle.
You've been waiting a while to use that one, haven't you?
Nick Trickle.
A piss.
Hey, Nick, what the fuck are you not doing here, dude?
Because Kevin Harvick finished in the top 10 Outback Steakhouse.
Goddamn Nick Lumacki! All right, look it up.